Hello everyone, this is Rick and welcome to Astral Club. This is Mission Planet Haven Part 2. To catch everybody up real quick, before we get started, I should mention Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel on Patreon, you get your advanced videos on Sunday, and there's an email where we can talk back and forth and share experiences. If you'd like a private lesson with me to learn to astral project, or if you just want to improve your current projection capabilities, be glad to work with you. If interested, you can check the description where you'll find a link to the Patreon channel and also an email where you can contact me for more information about private lessons. Okay, let's get started on what occurred. To bring everybody up to speed, if you missed the Wednesday episode, if you recall that after my successful mission to the planet of the Greys, I was asked by the Council to bring an invitation to Planet Haven to invite them to become a member of the Galactic Council. I had deep misgivings about sending out this invitation, and I did some traveling, trying to get my thoughts together. I spoke with my guardian angel, who offered me the advice that I should leave it up to the Havenites to make the decision, that it wasn't up to me to decide whether they should be invited or not, but to leave it up to them to decide whether they want to join or not. That made sense to me. He also advised that I take a little bit of a detour before going to the planet. And if anyone's read Robert Monroe's books, you might know why that's always a good idea at times. So I slingshotted around a little bit, went to Antarctica, then I went to the largest black hole in the universe, which always takes my astral breath away and causes a lot of emotions for me. And then I shot back in time to dinosaur times on Earth. Only then did I decide to zoom in on the ident for Haven. Haven, of course, is the planet that is peopled, if I can use that term, with intelligent plants that evolved to the point where they can now transcend into the fourth plane or go to the high third back and forth, depending on what they wish to accomplish. So they're a very evolved and peaceful people. So I eventually went there. I communicated with them that I was here to extend that invitation, and they indicated that they would have to get together at a communication nexus so that they could communicate with the whole planet and put forth this proposal and to review it and try to decide. So that's what happened Wednesday. What happened is they ended up escorting me. I thought we were going to go to the Crystal Palace that we were in once before, but we didn't. Instead, we started walking into a deep type of forested area. The trees look more like palm trees than anything else, although they had a very didn't look like palm trees in that they were much taller and thinner than I think palm trees are, and their roots tended to be very thick, and I could see them extending above the ground. So they must have had a very deep root system. So we walked further and further into the woods, and I was waiting for us to come, to some sort of clearing, because that's what we humans would do if we were going to meet, right? Well, that's not what happened. I think we went to an extremely dense area, and the root system there was immense. I saw roots that were, taller than I was, extending from the ground. And the whole ground seemed to be alive with roots. And they seemed to be moving too. ever so slowly, like worms. Some of them, though, were thin as the thinnest wire you've ever seen, while others, I couldn't fit my human arms around them. That's how thick they were. So I was wondering what we were going to accomplish here exactly, here in the middle of this woods. But I was to find out very quickly when my Havenite friends reached their limbs into the patchwork of the this communication nexus of this intense tangle of roots. And I was invited to become part of this communication process. And of course, I said yes, because I can only imagine what the experience would be like. And I certainly was shocked, because very quickly I lost a good sense of myself as it became submerged into this intricate web of communication routes that extended throughout the entire planet. It seems incredible, but it felt like I was now part of a universal brain, that I had these thoughts in my mind that were distinct from my own. And for a while, I was having a problem getting focused because of all these contradictory, or at least alien, impulses that were coming into my consciousness. And I kind of squirreled away my own little conscious in a little corner so that I could maintain my own sanity while participating as fully as it was possible for someone like me into this communication interweb. And I suspect a lot of this went over my head, but what didn't go over my head was just their ability to instantly communicate with all of the other Havenites scattered throughout the planet. That this root system was like neurons, if you will, in a brain, and that they could communicate. And based on the communication, various chemicals were emitted. At first, it was chaos for me. I felt that the invitation that I had extended was put forth, and I felt three different types of energy. And I'm going to try to put this in the best English I can, because I don't suspect there are good words for it. But the first type of energy was curiosity in a positive way. It seemed like a section of the Havenites were very intrigued by this proposal, and they were sending out chemical signals that promoted growth, energy, and it was very invigorating. But there was also a danger signal that was coming from other Havenites, and this danger signal was generating chemicals that would respond to an attacker. On Earth, I know we have trees that, when they're attacked by insects, they can give off signals through pheromones or through other ways to alert other trees that there is a threat here. I learned when I did some research after this experience that the acacia tree is a delicacy for giraffes. However, giraffes have learned over the eons that when they eat acacia leaves, they should do so so that the wind is coming down at them rather than the other way. Because what scientists have found out is that if the air is headed the other way, in other words, away from the giraffe and away from the acacia tree to other acacia trees nearby, that they respond to these threat pheromones and actually create tannins to a level that they can become poisonous to giraffes. So it's quite an amazing system, and I would imagine that these Havenites had something similar. The third signal that I was getting though was calming signals. I kind of consider them like the neutrals, the ones that were just sending calming energy to both of the curiosity and the danger ones. As I started getting more and more used to examining all of this input that was just showering upon me, I started to get a little bit more focused and understand that there was a disagreement here in where to proceed. The curious Havenites were very intrigued by this idea of joining a galactic community. They asked me, and I responded in a way that I believe it mimicked the way they did things. With the ones that were curious, I sent a thought which, when it went through the root system, also came across as a mixture of calming and the curiosity vibrations. And I assured them that one of the good points of this system is that you become part of a larger organism, something which I know would appeal to them, and that they could participate in promoting intelligent life and evolution throughout the galaxy. The danger people also wanted answers from me. Their questions were a bit sharper, a little bit more unpleasant. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Havenites are great. So when I say it was a little unpleasant, by our standards, it was like a feather hitting you. But I could understand their concern, and they were a unique people. They had evolved on this particular planet with no other interference. And they were concerned that joining this larger community might invite threats that they couldn't respond to. And so this, let's call them more conservative types, asked me about that. And I admitted to them that even though we had peace for quite a while in the Galactic Federation, but there had been a recent war that had led to death and destruction, and that it was over, but that it did happen, and that I didn't, I wanted to tell them the truth, that by joining this larger community, there was much to gain, but also there was the possibility of loss. So I was trying to be as honest with them as I possibly could. After my response, I began to feel those three different types of energies again coming through the system. And I could tell by the calming signals that were being sent out that this was a little bit of an unprecedented situation for them. They're normally a very unified group of intelligent entities, and that my invitation, despite my best intentions, was causing some dissension among them, and that certainly was causing me some distress as well. They asked me a very difficult question then, and they said, "Well, what would your counsel be?" Because we sense that though you are from this council, that you are also very part of Haven, and that you love this planet, which of course I do. I love it at least as much as my home planet of Earth, if not more. And I said to them, my advice is to withhold membership in the Galactic Council until you reach a point where you can be unified as a people. And it seems that right now there's three different distinct energies here at work. And the last thing that I want to accomplish in an invitation to the council is to cause dissension amongst your unified people. That's not the point of this invitation. Neither is it the intention of the Galactic Council as well. I said they'll no doubt be somewhat disappointed, but what you have to make the decision that is best for your people, best for Havenites, and that would be my counsel. So there was some more discussion back and forth. All of the energies, the curiosity, the danger threat, and the calming signals started to die down. There was still some discussion going on, and instead of paying attention to it because I almost felt like it wasn't my business, I tried to get a better idea of what was going on here. And the more I explored their system of communication, the more I was awed by it. That that instead of running wires all over their planet, they use this natural root system, as well as I sensed other symbiotic organisms that assisted them in carrying these messages virtually instantaneously throughout the planet. There was a number of nexus points all throughout the planet where these various root systems, and the complexity is just beyond my comprehension, that they're all linked through these nexus points, and that's how they communicated, especially when they were on the high third dimension plane, at least. Soon the conversation ended, and it ended, according to me, rather abruptly. We then walked away from the nexus point, and my friends who were surrounding me felt, it's hard to say exactly how they felt, because they're very friendly types, and you could tell they're not the type that like to give people bad news. But I said, please, I know your feelings are challenging to me because they're different from mine, but please, I don't have any negative feelings about Haven. I respect the planet, and I respect the inhabitants of this planet greatly. And I want to thank you for welcoming me and helping me and allowing me to convey this message. I hope it didn't cause undue complications for your people. And they assured me that while this was certainly a somewhat unprecedented type conversation, that they would come to a unified decision eventually. I said, I respect that. That's no problem. I said, one thing I will ask from you, though, is I'd like you to, and I know you're capable of this because I sensed it in the Nexus, I'd like you to remove my knowledge of the ident of the planet Haven from my consciousness. They asked why. I said, I want to make sure that your isolation is respected. I would never consciously give the ident to anyone, but I can't be sure that I won't be probed at some point. So please remove that ident for Haven from my mind, and I'll never come back here again because I won't have the ident. And if you would like to contact me, you know how to do so. You know my ident. You can contact me if you wish to do so. With that, they extended their limbs to me, and I felt the ident fading away, And then the next thing I knew, I was awakening in my bed. So that was my experience and my mission to Planet Haven. I don't know if I'll ever go back there again because I've lost the ident, which I surrendered on purpose. However, I do have hope that perhaps sometime in the future they will summon me. If you liked this podcast, please hit the like button, share it with those of like minds. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure that bell button's on so you're notified Wednesday afternoon and Saturday morning when the new podcasts are posted. I'm very interested in your questions and comments. What do you think about the Havenites? What do you think about their decisions as far as the council is concerned? Was I smart to have them remove the planetary ident from my mind? It really did hurt because I really love going to that place, but I'm not going to risk them just because it's a nice place to visit. So, thanks a lot. And this is Rick. And as always, I will see you on the astral plane.